Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something really critical, a deep dive that's designed specifically for you, the aspiring public servant.
That's right.
We want to cut through all the noise and really build that foundational knowledge you're going to need.
A kind of map of the political landscape.
Exactly. The map, the history, and maybe most importantly, a strategic blueprint for how to get started.
And this guide, everything we're going to talk about today, it's all drawn from the incredible strategic insights of Dr. Allison Stevens.
Her work is so important in this space.
It's revolutionary, really, because it's tailored for candidates from communities that have been, traditionally underrepresented.
We're talking people of color, people with disabilities.
Exactly. People whose voices have just been marginalized for way too long.
Okay, let's unpack this. And we're starting with the most crucial asset in any political campaign, youth.
It has to start there. Dr. Stevens is just so clear on this point.
And what is that point exactly?
That running for office has to be driven by a genuine desire to serve the community.
Right. Not the idea of it, not the glamour.
No, because that fades fast.
Yeah.
It's about addressing real structural societal issues. If you aren't grounded in that fundamental desire, the whole thing will just overwhelm you.
And for candidates from those underrepresented groups we mentioned, her advice is really, it's almost the opposite of what you usually hear.
It is. She calls your personal journey, your background, she calls it your lived expertise.
Lived expertise, I love that. And that's your greatest asset.
It's everything, absolutely. There's this immense pressure, often subconscious, to sort of conform.
To fit into a certain mold.
Right. Maybe you engage in what's called code switching, changing how you talk or look to seem
more palatable.
That's the word. More palatable to some perceived majority. But her strategy is the exact opposite.
You celebrate what makes you unique.
You celebrate it. You lean into it. When you speak from that lived expertise, that's how you connect powerfully and directly with the very communities you want to serve.
It makes sense. If you try to fit a mold, you risk alienating the people who actually get your experience.
You do.
So this brings up appearance, image management. That's always a minefield in politics.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Stevens says confidence is key, not the price of your suit. But there's a strategy there too, isn't there?
There is, and it's all about approachability. I mean, you should always look neat, professional, of course.
Of course.
But she warns candidates, especially those running for local office, against overdressing.
So showing up in a power suit to a community barbecue?
Exactly. You do that, and you've instantly created a barrier between you and the voters. It can almost feel like you're signaling you're above them.
So what underdressing can actually be a good thing?
It can be. Intentionally dressing down a bit can signal that you're resourceful, that you're connected to the community. It's about service, not status.
That's a great insight. You want to look like one of the people, not someone who's already left them behind.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's shift from perception to physical reality. Let's talk about accessibility.
So crucial, and so often an afterthought.
What's the key takeaway here?
It has to be proactive. Proactive, not reactive. If you're a candidate with a disability, you have to communicate your needs to organizers early.
Things like an accessible podium or ramp access.
Or captioning services, ASL interpreters. And a key point from Dr. Stevens is that your own team, your staff and volunteers, they need constant reminders.
That it's not optional.
It's not an add-on.
Okay.
It's fundamental to making sure everyone can engage.
And beyond the logistics, your platform itself can be a tool. I mean, if you're a candidate who's facing stereotypes about your age or your hair or a disability, how do you handle that?
You confront it. You confront it directly, respectfully, but you turn that confrontation into a mobilizing force.
How does that work?
When you refuse to hide who you are, whether it's a disability or your gender expression, you're doing more than representing yourself. You're mobilizing entire communities who suddenly feel seen.
You're validating their experience.
You're validating them, and you're showing them that the political landscape has to expand to include them. Your campaign becomes the proof.
That is powerful. Using your story not just as a biography, but as policy evidence.
That's what's transformative.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the actual job you're signing up for, the historical, the structural part of it.
Yes. Before you pour your life into a campaign, you need to know the rules of the game.
It's more than just a high school civics class understanding.
So much more. To be an effective leader, you need a deep knowledge of the legal framework. Dr. Stevens' advice is simple. Go to the websites.
The government websites.
Yep. Find the Constitution, the city charter, whatever the enabling documents were that actually created the role you want.
It's not just a job description, it's the legal boundary map for the position. Why is that so important for a candidate?
Because it stops you from making promises you can't keep.
Ah, that's a huge pitfall.
It's a classic rookie mistake. You see a county commissioner candidate promising to change state licensing fees.
Which they have no power to do.
Zero power. By reading those foundational documents, you understand the scope of your authority. You learn what you can do, what you must do, and how that role has been challenged or changed over time.
That knowledge informs your entire platform and saves you from massive embarrassment later.
100%.
Okay, so now let's map the battlefield, the different levels of government. We all know the three branches, but for a candidate, it's really about local, state, and federal.
Right, and we'll start where most new candidates do. Local government. This is your municipal or county level.
This is the day-to-day stuff.
This is where the rubber meets the road. We're talking waste management, regional planning, property values, parks and rec.
And it's a really strategic place to start, isn't it?
The most strategic. Because those decisions have a direct, visible impact on people's quality of life. You can build a powerful record of service there.
Then moving up from there, we have state government.
Which is a much bigger deal, financially speaking.
The power of the purse.
Exactly. State legislators manage these enormous state budgets, and that money determines how local governments get funded, especially for things like schools and roads.
And it's also where you get your driver's license.
Right, all that critical administrative stuff. Driver's licenses, professional licenses for doctors or electricians, and overseeing state support programs like family services.
And then at the top, of course, the federal government.
The highest level, they're handling the big national and international stuff. Privacy issues, airline regulations, student financial aid.
So local is community, state is budget and licenses, federal is national. But what's the real relationship here? People just say the feds are the boss of all of it.
And we need to be more precise than that. The concept you need to understand is federal supremacy and preemption.
Preemption. Okay, break that down.
When the federal government passes a law, say on environmental protection, it can preempt or override any state or local laws that conflict with it.
I see. So even if a local government is delivering a service.
The rules for that service are often set, or at least constrained, by state budgets and federal regulations. Understanding preemption is absolutely vital.
Perfect. That really clarifies where policy is made and where it's constrained. Now, let's talk about the real source of power, the citizens.
Yes. Holding office is just one piece of the puzzle.
Democracy really relies on everyone participating, right?
Absolutely. Just look at the history of progress in America. Take the Civil Rights era, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That wasn't just handed down from on high.
No, it was fought for.
It was a direct result of citizen engagement, activism like marches, lawsuits, and, critically, using the media to build overwhelming public support. That pressure is what forced the political change.
That combination of pressures is so key. And to help us really understand the difference between meaningful engagement and just sort of superficial stuff.
You have to look at Einstein's ladder of citizen participation.
This is such a critical framework for any candidate.
It is. The ladder shows you the different levels of actual citizen power in decision-making. At the very bottom, you have non-participation.
Which is things like manipulation and therapy.
Right, where citizens are involved only to be controlled or placated. Then you move up a bit to the middle levels, which is tokenism.
Tokenism. Let's break that down because I feel like we see this all the time.
All the time. Tokenism is involvement without any real influence. Informing might just be a flyer sent out after a decision is made.
Or placation, like a public hearing where they listen to you but they've already made up their minds.
Exactly. They check the box to say you were included, but it was never about changing the outcome.
So where's the real power for citizens on this ladder?
It's at the highest levels. This is where you find partnership, delegated power, and finally, citizen control.
And voting is the ultimate example of citizen control.
It's the most straightforward one, yes. But in day-to-day governance, partnership means citizens and officials are making decisions together. Delegated power is when citizens are actually given authority over certain programs.
And any good candidate should be trying to move citizens up that ladder.
That has to be the commitment. Moving beyond tokenism toward real shared control.
And outside of that direct involvement, there's public advocacy, the outside pressure groups.
Two main paths here. The first is Advising and lobbying. This is where experts talk directly to officials, become trusted sources of information.
These are often called special interests.
They are, but fundamentally they're just groups advocating for a cause. The second pass is media campaigns, using social media, traditional media.
To get an issue on the public's radar and put pressure on officials to act?
Right, and a smart candidate knows how both of those levers work.
This all shows that civic engagement is this huge full-time ecosystem. So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
It means you don't have to run tomorrow to start serving.
You can start right now.
Absolutely. Before you even think about running, you have to build your knowledge and your network. Dr. Stevens has some really practical steps.
Like what?
Subscribe to the newsletters from your elected officials. Go to town halls. But don't just go. Actually read the agendas and meeting notes from your local school board or city council beforehand.
And volunteer on a campaign.
There is no better way to learn the nuts and bolts of a political operation.
But the most strategic path she points to is getting an appointed position.
These are your stepping stones. They are invaluable training grounds.
And she has direct experience with this.
She does. Her own professional path started when she applied for an appointed spot on a local city citizen advisory committee.
And from there.
She moved up to a statewide commission, which was a governor's office appointment, and eventually served 2 full terms as a public rep on a state licensing board.
That's a fascinating progression. What's the strategic difference between, say, a local advisory committee and a state licensing board?
They teach you totally different, but equally vital skills. The local committee is all about grassroots networking, understanding community needs, zoning, budgets. It's political in that very direct sense.
And the state board?
The state licensing board is a masterclass in policy and administrative law.
Ah, so you're learning how laws actually get turned into regulations.
Exactly. And how those administrative actions affect real people's lives and livelihoods. That experience is what transforms your lived experience into undeniable lived expertise.
It forces you to see how all the branches interact. The law from the legislature, the implementation from the executive.
And the appeals process from the judiciary. You see the full picture.
And that kind of deep, complex understanding is what separates a truly prepared candidate from an amateur.
It's everything. It gives you the full spectrum of knowledge to figure out what kind of office, local, state, or federal, is actually the right fit for you and the change you want to make.
Fantastic. So this deep dive has really covered the core foundations. We talked about prioritizing your motivation, leveraging your authenticity, especially if you're from an underrepresented community.
We mapped the 3 levels of government and talked about that crucial difference between tokenism and real citizen control.
Right.
And remember, this knowledge is most valuable when you actually understand it and apply it. Reflect on the wealth of experience you already have. That's your strategic starting point.
And as you reflect on all this, on citizen power and strategic engagement, here's a provocative thought for you to carry forward. Think about one recent public decision made in your community. Maybe it was about a new development or a school budget cut. Which specific run of Einstein's ladder do you think citizens were on? Were they just being informed or placated? Or was it a true partnership? And more importantly, what's one specific action an aspiring candidate like you could take right now to help elevate that engagement to true citizen control?